first chapter. Hi there. Namaste.
Namaste, you're cold, huh?
A little. I ventured.
You what?
I ventured like this.
Oh my goodness.
That's not a good idea.
It was winter today.
It is. No, during the day it was, I didn't even put on a jacket.
How did the day
During the day it was quite nice and warm.
Hi there, you're letting your hair grow out.
No, it's just this time.
That's the cap of warmth.
I'm not letting it grow. I only do it once a month.
This really does keep
I
warm.
loved my hair when
This really does
when I
keep
got it
warm.
shaved.
It's
Yeah,
good, huh?
but
Yeah.
This is my favorite one.
It's those, I don't want
I
the
just-
whole year.
Yeah,
And
it
it's
just stands
It
up
catches
all
the
over
heat.
and it's all
Yeah,
soft.
the hole's full of your heat.
So you can shave it all off again.
Oh yeah, I do
Magical,
it every
huh?
month. I have my own little colors.
Arctic blast hits Canada.
Arctic blast. Oh my gosh.
It's like on the news.
It feels like snow.
Global warming, we're all getting used to it.
Lots of ups and downs. It's good to see you.
That's why I'm looking at you, because it's so good to see you. I have to get my eyes full of Harinder. Where is that from?
Purusha Sukta.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Not only are you. Everybody is so quiet. I wondered if they were in the last one.
Freezing.
I said holiday. This yeah.
Everything just froze.
Everything froze? When?
No, just now. That's why it's so quiet. We're all frozen.
Oh, Namah Shivaya. How are you doing? How is your health? Oh, much better now. You are here. Good. Wonderful. I'm happy that it's much better. Good news. Oh, how's that? Oh, God, go. Now it is all vegan, raw, gluten-free, all at once.
Just
Let me go in here for a second.
They're happy to see Swamini.
Huh?
Happy to see Swamini.
I'm happy to see them. Yeah, that man wrote a letter a few weeks back.
Yeah, I
You
have.
found it?
No, I knew that Swamiji, but I
Yeah.
haven't been in contact with him because of we didn't know whether it was going to be important here.
No,
or
no,
not.
after that. After that he wrote.
Oh,
Yeah, and I forwarded that to you. And
oh, I didn't find that letter. You know, some of the mails were going into the, was it from the Asha address? Because some of them I discovered I don't know how many I did because they were going into junk mail, the spam folder.
Oh, it's not from the Arsha address. It was from some Verizon address.
Yes.
No, but if Swamini forwarded it, it would have come from Swamini's address. And that's what was going into junk mail.
I don't know where it went.
Anyway, but I wrote and just asked them anyway. I just
Yeah, that's okay.
So I just wrote.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah, he wrote and he said you still want me to teach.
Ah.
Now that it's not in whatever. So then I said to him also to be in touch with you, and then I told you to be in touch with him. And
Okay, so
so
if the
it'll be
email's
fine.
gone, yeah.
Wonderful.
Mm.
So that's all.
Thank you, Swami.
Okay. What shall we do now?
No. Yes.
Shvetashvatara. That's you recording this again?
Yes.
All right.
Or maybe.
All right. Okay. Some nice verses are coming. 8 and 9 are very nice. Not that 10 is any less. Thumb-sized Purusha makes another appearance in 13. And then we have a few verses from the Purusha Sukta, which are 14, 15, and then 3 verses from the Bhagavad Gita. How is that possible? Which came first? Upanishad came first. How is it possible that, verses from the Gita are in the Upanishad?
They went there from.
Huh? They migrated from the Gita to the Upanishad?
No, the
Other
way.
Yeah. So we have verses that are lifted from here onto the Bhagavad Gita. That is up till 18. And then there are verses from some other Upanishad also, like Kathopanishad and then chapter 3 comes to an end. After this, chapter 4 is very esoteric but interesting and is full of all kinds of symbolism. Just to see what all we have to look forward to. Chapter 4 is also very important in terms of Maya. Chapter 4 is devoted to an analysis of Maya. Very nice and important. And people wonder, does the word Maya have Upanishadic sanction? Or is it something that is made up in the Puranas or in the Bhagavad Gita? No, this Upanishad. Mayantu Prakritim, very famous mantra. Mayantu Prakritim Vidyat, Maginam tu Maheshwaram. So Maheshwara, not the one next door, but Bhagavan. Here, this Bhagavan is Maheshwara. Mahanja Asau Ishwarascha, the one who is, greater than the greatest and who is the overlord of all. So it says Mayam tu Prakritim Vidyat. No Maya to be that which is the material. Mayin. Not the one who is in Maya. Opposite meaning here. The one who is not in Maya. Mayin means the one who wields the Maya. Yes. That is our Maheshwara. That is what is Maheshwara. So therefore the chapter 4 is very important. And if you look at chapter 3, even though, we are going slowly, there is a reason for that, because there's a lot of build-up for later. And if this part is not understood, then that whole Satyam, Mithya and Maya, the way it is presented in this Upanishad is just fantastic. It is just unparalleled. That is why this Upanishad is so important, because it is, it has that resonance of sifting through all the delusion. Yeah, it has that mark. And so chapter 4 is all about relegating the Maya to its place and seeing how the Atma, which is Bhagavan, is beyond Maya. That is chapter 4. Some very nice, very important verses are there. And just, the same thing is talked about in so many different ways. It's just lovely. And you can't leave even a single word. It is so beautiful here. And then chapter 5, there's another cup of tea here. It's again talking about the ways in which the delusion takes place and what to do, the nature of Bhagavan, how to understand the nature of Bhagavan as oneself, so that one is not able to, one doesn't go, and get fooled by the manyness and the manifold and the varied aspects of the universe. And then chapter 6 deals with the final chapter, deals with some other interesting things. It doesn't have one topic that we can talk about, but it talks about nature, it talks about Maya, it talks about Ishvara, it talks about how to cross over sorrow and death, and it talks about, and some very famous verses are there for meditation. I mean, they are not for meditation, they are for, what is that other thing, contemplation. They are, kind of a meditative contemplation. And many times I have quoted from this when we do the meditation. The volume is not there. Yes, coming. So many times I have quoted from this while doing the, okay. Now you try, it should be better. So I have quoted from this Upanishad, Eko Devaha Sarva Bhuteshu Gudhaha Sarva Vyapi Sarva Bhutantaratma. So this final chapter reiterates all this. And then the last mantra is also, you can have a whole entire retreat on the last mantra of this Upanishad. It is so wonderful. The last mantra is this, to sum everything up. It says, Yasya deve para bhaktihi yatha deve tatha gurau tasyaite kathita hyarthaha prakashante mahatmana iti. Yasya deve para bhaktihi, for whom? The one who has utter devotion to Bhagavan, completely devoted to Bhagavan. Yatha deve tatha gurau. And in the same way is completely has devotion to the teacher. So the teacher and Bhagavan, the one who greets with supreme, that's the effect of this translation here, supreme devotion. I'm just reading the translation. So with the ultimate devotion, tasyaiva, only unto such a person, kathitaha arthaha, the meaning of the said words of the Upanishad, prakashante, they light up. For whom? Mahatmanaha. Tasyaiva Mahatmanaha kathitaha arthaha prakashante. So this is a very, very beautiful conclusion. I mean, it is just so amazing. So this Upanishad is just wonderful. Very, very wonderful. And so therefore, I'm not in a hurry, we'll just do whatever we can, and we'll just go slowly. What's the rush, And sometimes we may go a little faster, because if there is a iteration of something we have already studied and we happen to remember, we can go a little faster. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Vedahametam Purusham Mahantam.
Vedahametam Purusham Mahantam.
Aditya Varnam Tamasah Parastat.
Aditya Varnam Tamasah Parastat.
Tameva Vidittvati Mrityumeti.
Tameva Vidittvati Mrityumeti.
Nanyah Pantha Vidyate Yanaya.
Nanyah Pantha Vidyate Yanaya.
We saw the meaning. We are going to see this a little more in detail. It's a declaration. Veda Aham means I know. Who is saying? The person who is studying the Upanishad, or who is the Rishi who is channeling the Upanishad, both of them. So this is a marker, right? By this time everybody should be able to say, I know, Veda Aham, because we have studied so much already. We are, chapter 3 is halfway point, correct? So Veda Aham, everybody should say that. Veda Aham, yeah, Veda Aham. Yeah, I know. And so the Rishi is ecstatic, and in that ecstasy says, Vedaham. What do you know? So many things to know, So many new species are being discovered. And after seeing the dinosaur eggs and all these footprints and excavations, they are finding new species of dinosaurs, with feathers, without feathers, flying types, And then now the theory is that the birds are descendants of dinosaurs. And all these things, so many things to know. But Vedaham, Kim, come rather. Come means whom? Not what do I know. First I said Kim, what do I know? Then I changed it to what? Come, who do I know? Purusham Mahantam. Purusham Mahantam. Mahan is a word. Mahat. Mahat means great, without limits. Mahan, Mahantau, Mahantaha, Mahantam. Second case. I know. The object of my knowing is indeed this Purusha. Which Purusha? How many Purushas we have talked about? Come on. Yeah, two Purushas we have talked about. Who is the first one? The sad, bad, mad Purusha, stuck in a cloak of ignorance and stuck in this peel of the body, mind, sense complex. Correct? Yeah. That's why he doesn't peel very good most of the time. And so this Purusha is stuck in this body, mind, sense complex, as it were, not really stuck, but thinks I am stuck. And because the person thinks I am stuck, what happens as a result? That identification with the body, mind, sense complex becomes the thing that is the bondage. So the notion of bondage becomes actual bondage because of this misidentification. So Vedaham Purusham. So this Purusha, the first, so which Purusha is being referred to here? So that Purusha is one Purusha. Another Purusha is what? Sarvan Purayati, the one who fills up the whole universe and beyond, and who transcends it also. We saw that last time. Like even the gold transcends the ornament. So, like the wood transcends the table. So this Purusha transcends everything. That's why it is called Mahantam. So which Purusha is this person, is this Rishi referring to? The first one or the second one? Second one. But also, since there is that Aham Veda is there, the first one has been converted to join the second one. This is why it's a Mahavakya. Because Mahavakya means two things should be there and the Aikya, the equation should be there. Correct? Jiveshvara Aikyam Vakya. A Vakya, a sentence that unfolds the oneness, rather the identity between who? Jiva and Ishvara. Jiveshvara Yoho Aikyam. So that Vakya, which shows the identity between the individual who feels stuck in the body, mind, sense complex and who feels hopeless, helpless most of the time, and the creator of the Jagat Karanam, the cause of the universe, that oneness is what is pointed out. And here, if we don't take the first Purusha into reckoning, then this cannot be a Mahavakya. But it is a Mahavakya because that measly Purusha sitting in the body, mind, sense complex has become Mahan as a result of this knowledge. You see? So it's an embracing of this Purusha right here as that Purusha. So this Purusha is referred to like, just a little sign by the same cleverly used same word of the Upanishad once. It's very easy to sort of have a, kind of a rote analysis and say, okay, two Purushas, one is stuck in the body, mind, sense complex and is identified with here, Mahantam is used, so of course the second Purusha is used. But we have to see beyond. We have to see the wonder of this. Otherwise it won't start with Vedaham. He would say, I sing the glory, Aham, Singami, the glory of this Mahan Purusha. I sing the glory of Mahan Purusha. He would not have said Vedaham. Which Purusha? Purusham Mahantam. Words from the Purusha Sukta. And so Vedaham Purusham Mahantam. How do you know? You said you know. Katham? Katham janasi? Vada? Tell, how do you know? Aditya Varnam. That which is of the sun-like quality. Color of the sun. Color of the sun means what? Yellow, right? Yeah? Purusha is yellow. Purusha has hepatitis.
Shining luster.
Shining. Because we always, see, Vedanta, you can't really, Atma is incomparable, cannot be compared to anything. What can you compare Atma to? Tell me.
No.
Two things. Only you can kind of compare. One is sun, the other one is space. Beyond that, there is no other thing you can compare. Atma is like space. Everything space accommodates. Atma accommodates everything, including your own mistakes. This is what is, one example. Atma is the self shining. Like what? The sun. Because that's the brightest thing we know, in the firmament and in our understanding. That's the brightest orb because of which we see everything. That's the sole thing that powers, the sole thing that powers this whole universe, at least on Earth and the solar system. That's why in certain languages it is called soul, because it is the only thing that there is. Like even the Atma, that's where the comparison stops. When we start talking about solar flares and all these things, no. Atma doesn't flare up or flare down. We're only talking just certain things we can compare the Atma to, sun and space. Usually sun and sand go together, but here sun and space. Okay? So sun and space. So last time we saw, I think in this Upanishad also previously, we have seen, Vyomavat, Vyoman means space. So like even space, that which shines. And then what? Now here, it's the turn of the sun to be brought in. Aditya, Aditya is that which came first. That's why the word Aditya is used. So many other things could be used. That which was, which is uncreated, which was always there, Adi. From the beginning of what? Beginning from my limited standpoint of the start of the universe, Big Bang, etc. We are not talking of all that. So Aditya Varna. So sun maybe have started at that time, 12 billion years ago, 14 billion years ago, light years. And but we are not talking of the beginning of the sun. We are talking of the beginningless Atma, which always was there, and it's being compared to the sun, which was Adi, which came before everything else, in relative to the solar system. And so Aditya Varna so means that which was uncreated, that which is uncreated, which is always there, which is without a second. When you look in the sky, you don't see two suns, only one sun, correct? So that oneness is also brought here. And Varna means color. The luster of the shining sun is compared to the Atma. Why? Because there is this very poignant metaphor. When the sun travels, the light of the sun travels to the eyes, it makes them see. Right? Yeah. If sun is not there, moon. But we need something luminous to be able to see. If moon is also not there, we have all these electric things. So without a source of light, the eyes cannot see. So just like the sun powers the eyes to see everything, so too the light of Atma, Jyotir Jyotihi Jyotisham Jyotihi, the light of all lights, the light of Atma, what does it do? It not only powers the eyes, it powers the ears, Shrotrasya Shrotram, Chakshushas Chakshuh, Manaso Manaha, Vachoha Vacham, it powers the speech, it powers the mind, it powers all the functions. It is like the electricity that powers all the functions. Imagine an ear-shaped light bulb, an eye-shaped light bulb. All these things, the same Atma, that luster, the shine. The shine is nothing but the shine of all-knowingness. Knows everything. That's why, even when you say I don't know, what are you saying? Veda aham, see, that is the beauty of it. Go back to that first line. Veda aham, I know, that which never, is in the form of I don't know. Even when you say I don't know, how do you know you don't know? Well, I know, I don't know. The scientists will call it an ontological issue. For us, it's not ontological or anything. It's a fact. It's you. That's what it is. Yeah. This is not ontological meta theory. This is nothing, This is just you. Veda aham. I who know this Purusha, I who know everything, including I know that I don't know. This is what we are talking of, that sun-like awareness, consciousness, which is all knowledge, limitless and limitlessly knowledgeable, limitlessly present, limitless, all-knowing being, Purusha. Because it's not some dead entity. That is why Aditya Varna. Because the nature of the Purusha is all knowledge. Therefore it goes with Veda aham, I know this Purusha, who is all knowledge. And even if I don't know the Purusha, what will I say? Huh? I don't know, you'll say?
I
I know that I don't have self-knowledge. You see? So the self-knowledge becomes a small little mosquito to be just taken outside, escorted outside. And that's what it is. That's the guru's job. Escort the self-knowledge, mosquito outside. That's all it is. Self-ignorance mosquito. Self-ignorance, that I don't have self-knowledge, is a small little, biting mosquito. Which the student, because of the, what is that? A wrong vision, thinks of it to be a huge vampire. Yeah, Dracula. And the teacher says, don't fear. Ma bhaishta. This is just a mosquito. This is not Dracula, This is not a vampire. The only thing in common is, they do, take some blood, but it's nothing to be worried about. You have so much, you can, you can be the host for so many mosquitoes. In fact, you accommodate all of them. In fact, you are it, you are nothing, this is what it is. Self-ignorance feels like a monster that is, pouncing. But really, when I look at it and say, Veda Aham, I know you are there. And I'm going to get rid of you. I have the means to get rid of you. Then it becomes an entirely different cup of tea altogether. Totally different. Yeah. Because otherwise one gets, starts to believe this is real, starts to believe in its, power, which it is not there. It has no power. And starts to believe in its, presence more than one's own presence. This is an interloper. Just like the mosquito. It belongs outside, But if it comes inside and starts to bite in various places, and then pretty soon one is convinced that it has power over me. This is what is told here. That's why Aditya Varna. Aditya Varnam means that which is of this self-shining brilliance. Self-shining because you know you are. Do you know you exist?
Yes.
Yes. And the existence of not just you, but everything else also is very evident to you. Not only do you know you exist, you know everything exists. So everything becomes evident to whom? That consciousness, which is luminous. Luminous not in the sense that it has some neon glow. Yeah. I was horrified to learn that they have played with the genes of a, what is that thing called which goes in the night? Fireworm. No. Firefly. Glow something. Glowworm. Yeah. It's not a worm. Firefly. So this thing which goes, and you see it in the night, in the hot tropical climates, summer nights, and then you see the light, and they mix the genes with a piglet, with a pig, and then they have this, I hope it's just an urban rumor, sick as it is, but I heard that they have this glow-in-the-dark pig, a small pig that they can sell as pets. This is awful. Somebody was telling at this conference where I was. I don't know, I should have found out more details. But it was so unsettling to hear this.
I read an article.
So it is there, yeah.
Yes.
So anyway, this is, so we are not talking of that kind of, cloned glow. Self-shining, not that you are an isotope, radioactive. Or you're some neon, like some neon goo. You're not, that's not that kind of a glow. This is the glow is just a, what is that? A euphemism really for all knowledge. Because knowledge shines. Knowledge brings everything to light. And then we use this in our metaphors in our daily talk also. Even in comics you see that, like when you see that Tom and Jerry, they are, which is the cat? Tom is the Tom cat, yes. And so he is chasing after this mouse and the mouse runs away, and then he's puffing and he's outrun by the mouse. He's sitting down, he's just huffing, and then suddenly you see a light bulb, he's thinking he's got a new idea. Yeah? See, even in cartoons we say that it has lighted up, the mind has lighted up. Now we are going a step further and saying that which even lights up, that which powers the mind. Like even the electricity, it seamlessly goes into any object. Old kind of light bulb, yes, it has powered it. New kind of that weird looking light bulb, all looks like that spaghetti, and that also it powers. And then you have toaster, that also it powers. Then you have stove, that also it powers. Computer, live stream, everything it powers. And similarly the Atma, which is all knowledge and ever present, limitless, limitlessly whole. Same thing powers all thoughts, not only in one being, but in all beings. Sarva bhuteshu gudha. Hidden in all beings, it powers everything. Why hidden? Because it is you. You cannot objectify it. It's hidden only for want of knowing. And if you try to know it with the pramanas that you have at hand, pramana means means of knowledge, like inference, etc., then it is not, you. I had an interesting discussion with somebody at the conference who was claiming that the Higgins boson, this God particle. So now this person was making the claim, now the scientists cannot deny God because they have found the God particle. I said, why? What does that have to do with anything? No, God particle is evidence of God. I said, you don't need God particle for evidence of God. Everything that you see, hear, touch is evidence of Bhagavan. No, God particle is God. I said, God is not an object. No, but they cannot see it. I said, but they can infer it. Yes, I said, if it's inferred, it's not Bhagavan. So, this is what the whole thing is. So here, Aditya Varna means that which is all knowledge. And when something is all knowledge, there is not room for even a slightest bit of ignorance. Even for it to take off its shoes and tiptoe back in, there is no room at all. That's why Aditya Varna, of the nature of something that always shines, like the sun, never stops shining. It's just that the earth has moved away, but it is shining now in India. Then it will shine somewhere in Australia. Then it will shine in the Middle East. Then it will come back again to the northern continent, Northern American continent. So like this, the shine never stops. And so this all-knowingness doesn't stop. The all-knowingness iterates the presence, because all knowledge has to be, resting in a conscious being. So the all knowledge, which is Chit, refers back to Sat. Because unless there is a being which exists, then, which cannot be the carrier of all this knowledge. And what kind of a being? Ananda, the limitless being. Limitlessly present, limitlessly knowing and being, a conscious being, which is this Purusha, Sarvan Purayati. So right now what has happened? That ignorance has been escorted out by the teachings, by the grace of Bhagavan and by the grace of the teacher. The ignorance has been escorted out, and then what is left is all knowledge. Therefore it is called Tamasaha Parastat. Tat is the pratyaya. It is often used. Purastat, uttarat tat. Yeah, parastat means beyond tamas. Tamas in relation to the sun is darkness. Tamas in relation to the Atma is self-ignorance. Any other ignorance doesn't matter. The self-ignorance is the one that pinches. Because, suppose, when someone says, I don't know Chinese. I know Chinese food, but Chinese bhasha, I don't know. Mandarin, I don't know. Cantonese, I don't know any of these dialects. This is not an ignorance that pinches. It does not hurt to not know Chinese. Oh, but what if I have to go there and do business? Then you'll learn. Not a big deal. You'll learn. And then when the business is finished and you come back, you will forget it also. Promptly. Correct? This is what it is. That's why there are all these books, you can, 10 phrases to say in this foreign country that you are going to. How to say hello, how to say goodbye, how to say call the police, all these things that are there. But it doesn't hurt. It does not become a cause for fear and sorrow that you don't know Chinese. From where we sit, this is a very, very dispensable ignorance. An ignorance that can be not taken seriously. Why? Because it is aparavidya vishaya. It is a subject matter of the relative, not the ultimate, not the absolute. So, we are talking of the absolute. Being ignorant of oneself really, because oneself is the absolute. So, being ignorant of the absolute makes the relative what? All, a big mess. If you go about it the other way and say, little by little, I'll get rid of all the ignorances in the universe and then get back to the self. Because I should come last. Let me, that's what a good person does. Puts themselves last. So let me put everything else first. Let me put Chinese ignorance, this ignorance, that ignorance, how to clone a neon piglet ignorance, how to, grow this kind of a, what is that? Now they are having, these fruits they put together. Blue art. Yeah. What is blue art? Little bit of plum, little bit of apricot. Yeah. So, and so like this, I'll dismiss blue art ignorance, I'll take care of this, and then finally, after the whole Jagat and all its things are taken care of, then I will take care of Atma ignorance. Anatma ignorance comes first. Okay, let's come back. So Anatma ignorance comes first. Atma ignorance I will take care of last. What is wrong with this scenario?
You'll never get to it.
You will never get to it. That's correct. You will never get to it. Why? The Jagat is infinite. Oh, I thought I was infinite. Yes. You are infinite. Bhagavan is infinite. Jagat is non-separate from Bhagavan. Bhagavan is Satchit Ananda. Satyam Jnanam Anantam. Jagat is also what? Satchidananda, everything that you see is Satyam Jnanam Anantam, Satyam Jnanam Anantam, infinite presence, infinitely present in the infinite Jagat. And what is this Jagat? Name and form, name and form, name and form, word and meaning, 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 and some more name and form, name and form, name and form, name and form, name and form. And if you say, Anatma ignorance I'll first take care of, and then Atma ignorance I'll have a lot of time to take care of. This is the biggest delusion. In fact, that's what is wrong in this Jagat is that people are taking Anatma ignorance seriously. And therefore, all the parents will tell their children, well, don't drop out of school. And then what? Don't drop out of college. Then get the skills you need. Plus you should have a few more skills. Like you should know how to play an instrument, at least to save your life, You should be able to sing a few things. You should be able to play a few games, tennis and whatnot. You should have all those social skills, how to talk to people, how to do this. This is what is prioritized. You try to write on your resume, I have self-knowledge. Who will hire? They will say this person is weird. You try to write on your resume. This shows how this whole delusion is there. This tamas is not just the individual tamas of one person's ignorance, but it is a collective ignorance. It's ajnana ghana, not pragyana ghana. It's collective ignorance, which shows that as a result of this delusion, we keep building up and up. Everybody is deluded. Okay, because everybody is deluded, wrong choices are made. Anybody entering the 3-year course has a 3rd degree by their parents, if they are Indian. Parents will sit down, they'll call the relatives also for some help, because this is a big thing, a drastic situation. The person is going away for 3 years to study, and all the relatives gang up, and then they will say, what are you going to get out of this? Oh, I'll have self-knowledge, mother. Father, I'll have self-knowledge. So, how much money will you make after this? Will you be able to take care of yourself? What will you do? And then, this is what they give the offspring 3rd degree. And then the offspring springs off to Coimbatore to sit and study, or some ashram somewhere to sit and study, and the parents follow 2-3 months later. 1 or 2 months they give, thinking that he'll come back. 4 o'clock he never woke up in any of his lives. So how he's going to wake up at 4 o'clock? He'll come back, or she'll come back. So 2-3 months doesn't come back, then the parents say, okay, this is testing our patience. So they make a trip. And then they talk to the teacher. They don't bother with, they say, now we have to go to the boss. Correct? And they try to reason with the teacher. You see, this young person is wasting his life, and you are the cause of it. How do I know? Because I've had the good fortune to sit with Swamiji when all these distraught parents used to come and watch him deal with them. So that is how I know. And these are the things that you are the cause, you are the problem. Until he met you, my son was wonderful. They would say this to Pujya Swamiji. Until he met you, the mother said this. My son was fine, you came and you spoilt everything. And one parent said, D Saraswati, I'm going to take care of you. What is D? This is how they addressed. This is more delusion, tamas. Tamas means not being able to be. They love their child. They love their, whoever they gave birth to. But they cannot see that the one they gave birth to has, has little in common with them as anything else, because this is just a jiva that was ushered into this world, using their womb, using their house, because that's where the commonality, and maybe that looks like them to make matters a little more confusing, but that's where about the similarity ends. This jiva has its own trajectory and has been, dying literally life after life for this knowledge, and being born again and searching. So the search of this jiva happened long before the parents came into the picture. The parents are just custodians, guardians. They don't have a say over what is going to happen in this child's life ultimately. They can guide. That's all they can do. But this is just an example of tamas. So because of this delusion, so the parents are into the delusion, the relatives are into the delusions. Relatives will be under delusion. That's why they are called relative. That's why they are not called absolute. So, so everybody is under this delusion. This is what is, Ajnana Ghanam, a mass of delusion. Ghana means thick in delusion, like a smoke beyond which you cannot see. A thick grey smoke which is just obfuscating the vision, obscuring one's priorities. Because if you go after an Atma, you will just be met with disappointment and sorrow because one is hardwired to find Atma. That's what it is. One longs for the permanent. And then it is, of course, in the beginning natural to seek the permanent in impermanent places and things, as a result of which there is disappointment. But this is something to learn from. And say, okay, I'm looking in the wrong place. I'm looking at the wrong thing. What I want is something else. This is what is called? What is this called?
It's from the forms of ignorance.
No, what is it called when you say, I'm looking for the permanent and I have to let go, I have to...
Nitya.
Viveka. This is discrimination. This discrimination, if it is not there, one will go after anatma permanently. One becomes a infinite seeker, not the seeker of the infinite. For the seeker of the infinite, the quest is finite, the quest has to be finite. But here, Aditya Varnam Tamasaf Parastat. So this is what is to understand, because everything in the Jagat, whatever we call anatma, why do we call it anatma? Even the word anatma has atma in it. Correct?
Yes.
Think about that. Why do we call it anatma? It also has atma in it. So then why do you have to know anatma? Why not go straight after atma? Correct? So if you want to know sugar, just, take the sugar. Last time we had all this. Yeah. So this is what it is. So anatma is also atma. Atma is not anatma. That's why we have to know atma. It cannot go both ways. That is wrong understanding. Anatma is atma. Atma is not anatma. Anatma is that which is name and form, word and meaning. Atma is that which lends its presence to every name and form, word and meaning. So that is why it is real. Everything else is a dependent reality. So here it is just a beautiful thing to understand, that I go after that presence which powers everything. I don't get stuck in the names and forms in relation to this example, like the toaster, the light bulb, the computer. I go to the source, which is electricity. That's what it is. So that is what is the teaching here. Tamasaf parastat. That which is beyond all ignorance, and also hinted here, highlighted here kind of indirectly, is the ignorance that gets stuck in names and forms. So therefore, if it is beyond ignorance, it is that presence which is beyond all names and forms, because of which the names and forms survive, in whose presence the names and forms come to power, because of whom they are sustained, unto which they resolve, out of which they arise. That is that Aditya Varna, that self-effulgent, self. Self-effulgent means everything is evident to me. I am also evident to me. This is what is Bhagavan. Tame Aditya Varnam Tamasaf Parasa, not even a little bit of ignorance. And this is a Mahavakya because it says, I have gone beyond that ignorance, knowing this Purusha. Meaning, the ignorance cannot make a comeback. It cannot. No, but what if I grow old and have dementia? Then if someone comes and asks, do you have self-ignorance? I won't know what to say. That's about it. You won't know what to say. Because the mind or the brain has been damaged in a certain way. But that does not change the fact that I know I am. I know who I am. I am no longer self-ignorant. That cannot be changed. You may not be able to express it. There was one person, actually, I met that person, one teacher. I didn't meet him earlier, but I heard that he was very sharp, bright teacher, had a lot of students. Forgot his name. He used to be in Rishikesh, and he developed dementia. Wiped clean. And he would just sit there and smile nicely at everyone. You know, didn't remember a thing. His own student went and he said, Aapka Gurusthan kaun sa hai? You know, who is your teacher? And the student got so frustrated. You are my teacher. Oh, that's nice. But that doesn't, that doesn't detract from the fact that he knows. This is what it is. There's a difference between knowing and the expression of that knowing. The one who knows, can express it in many ways or need not express it at all, or is disbarred from expressing it. That is also a possibility. So therefore, this is not like Chinese knowledge. After coming back from China and using some, expressions to impress people and get the business deal, now what? Now you have gone. It's all gone out of memory. This is not like that, because this is the difference between the knowledge of objects, Anatma, and the knowledge of the subject, Atma. Because you already are Brahman, you already are that Mahan Purusha that you seek to know. You already are that presence that you seek to know. So the self-ignorance mosquito has been driven out by the Upanishad repellent. Yes. Mosquito repellent. Mosquito Upanishad today. So, this is what the whole thing is. So it has been driven away. The Guru applies the repellent and then or Guru blesses the repellent and gives it. And then what? Mosquito gone. So no more biting samsara. No more, feeling of being possessed by Dracula, of all kinds of things. Dracula of worries, Dracula of desires, Dracula of all kinds of fears, and Dracula of depression. No more. This is gone. It's just gone like that. And therefore, tamasaf parastat means one which has, here we had this huge smoke screen, which was not enabling me to have darshan of my own self. And then what? The screen was lifted. And then it never comes back. So parastat here means non-returning, ignorance. Because it's you. Object ignorance can return. Because the object is always being upgraded. Like even the computer software. Install this update, update. And object ignorance again, because it's other than you. No matter how much you know it, you really don't know it. As Pujya Swamiji says, the knowledge is just up to one more question that you can ask. What is this pot? Why is it in this shape? I don't know. What is this? Flower. Why is it this color? I don't know. Why is it not blue? I don't know. Why is it this size? I don't know. This is what it is. So, Anatma knowledge is being non-absolute and being a non-thing. Non-thing means what? You say avastu. Avastu. Meaning it's vastu dressed up in a name and form. That's all it is. Vastu dressed up in a new sari. That's all it is. So I think it's a new thing. Go after it. And then what? This is the delusion. That's why we have the Mohini avatara. Mohini means the ultimate deluder. It is Mahavishnu. And the asuras got out of hand when that thing was churned. The ocean was churned. First, all the unconscious, this is all a metaphor. The ocean, the churning of the ocean is the dealing with the unconscious. So all kinds of scorpions and this and that and poison came out. What else will come out? Because that's what is there in the unconscious. And then finally one has to deal with that to get the knowledge of that immortality which is oneself. And then the pot of this knowledge of immortality, nectar pot came out. Then the asuras who had been tricked into churning, thinking that they would also get a share, they showed up first and they said, give us this, And the gods, the devatas were in a fix. They said, what to do? How to make them go away? Vishnu said, I have this in the bag, don't worry. I have this. And Vishnu took on this avatara of this beautiful damsel, Mohini, the one who deludes. Yeah. And she just went like this. Come on, boys. And she took the pot also with her. And they all followed her. But that was not the same pot. It was a pot that looked just like that, but it was a different pot. So they were given placebo. And the devatas got the real thing. And then that's how the double-blind studies started. That was the first example of the studying the effects of placebo amritam. So anyhow, so this is what it is. So this Mohini, who is Mohini? It is Mahavishnu. It is Vishnu. Vishnu in disguise. This is what it is. So the whole world of Anatma, that which I call Anatma, is Vishnu in disguise, Vishnu in disguise, Vishnu in disguise. My problem is I go after the disguise. Forget Vishnu. This is my problem. So therefore, that's why tamasaf parastat. I have gone beyond the avastu, negated the a in the avastu, and then got what? Vastu. I cancelled the an in the anatma, got atma. This is what it is. So in each and everything, I don't see the name and form. I see that which, the presence which powers the thing. Satchidananda everywhere. That Vishnu alone is Satchidananda. And that Vishnu I am, that Purusha I am. This Vishnu only in relation to the story. Vishnu, I like the word because it is sarva vyapi. It is all pervasive. So this all pervasive being alone I am. And then what? Tamasaf parastat. Then tameva viditva. Knowing this alone, knowing this Bhagavan alone, knowing this Purusha, Mahan Purusha alone, what happens? Ati mrityum eti. Mrityuhu mrityum atitya gacchati. Goes beyond death. So in other words, what? What is death? Ignorance is death. Ignorance is death. Self-ignorance is death. Self-knowledge is immortality. Because I no longer, identify with one body, mind, sense complex alone, so that I will feel annihilated or destroyed when something happens to the body or when something happens to the mind. So this way I am very much present in everything as everything. And so this is what is called Sarvatma Bhava. I exist in everybody and everything. There is a beautiful story of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, the saint. And this saint had in his last stages, he had this very painful form of cancer of the throat. Couldn't eat anything, couldn't drink anything, just some kanji, rice gruel. That's all he could take. And there was some big festival at the ashram. And his room was close to the kitchen. And he could smell the aroma of 5,000 puris being fried and halwa being made and all kinds of, wonderful things for the celebration. And he had a momentary, because of this pain and everything, he had a momentary feeling, an identification with his body. And in that momentary feeling, he articulated his pain to the Mother Goddess. He said, "Oh Devi, look at all these 2,000 people are coming today, and look at all this food that is being made. And you have deprived me. I can't eat anything." He felt sorry for himself and he had this thought. And then he says the answer came very quickly. The Devi knocked him on the head and said, "Idiot, Murkha, you are going to be eating through 2,000 mouths. Don't you see that?" And this is what it is. So this is Sarvatma Bhava, that I am one with everything. And so Ati Mrityu Meti, so it's not transcending death by, what is that, by taking some extra shots of the growth hormone or something like that. There's another strange thing that is coming up. There is this human growth hormone, HGH or something it is called. And then people are in experiment. They are experimenting with taking extra shots of that. They get injected. And they, apparently start to feel really young. The 70-year-old acts like a 40-year-old. Frightening, actually. Thought is a little frightening, no? Yeah, so I'm going a little over time. At least let me finish this line. Ati Mrityu Meti. The last line we'll take up next week. So, this is not that way of gaining. Even that the newly minted 40-year-old, which was the previous 70-year-old, the body will also die. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Body has to die. And so this is what the teaching is, to understand the residence of this I is beyond the body-mind-sense complex. It's just living here temporarily. But it's not its abode. Its abode is everything and everywhere. That's why it is Vishnu, Sarvavyapi. And that's why it is Purusha, Sarvan Purayati, that which accommodates everything, like even space. And that which is self-shining, like even the sun. And knowing this, Ati Mrityum Eti, the person transcends all death, all smallness, and the little deaths that one dies every day. I don't have this, I want this, oh, this didn't go well, and what is wrong with me, and why am I like this, and all this is gone. And in the next class, we will see the last line. Na anyaha pantha vidyate ayanaya. That I will save it for next time. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Any questions? No Hiranyagarbha today.
Oh, all of it.
Yes.